Welcome to Her Fantasy Football, the free agency edition. Woohoo! Make sure to hop over to Blog Talk Radio / Her Fantasy Football and sign up for our podcast and on iTunes. If you would like to see what we are up to on other shows, make sure to hop over to herfantasyfootball.com and subscribe to us. And if that's just not enough of us, you can also chat with us on Twitter at HerFantasyFB and on Facebook / Her Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Courtney Kirby.
And I'm Ashley Williams.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
And it has been quite the couple of days here. Crazy.
Yep. Holy moly.
Woo!
Courtney's been officially traded to New York. And a crazy wife swap with Brandon.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So it's
for a first-round pick.
First-round pick, yeah, for a first-round child.
Yeah.
All right.
It's nuts. It's nuts. I mean, some of the ones, I don't know. I just didn't see it coming. Jimmy Graham, I didn't see coming. McCoy, I didn't see coming. Foles, I literally was almost cursing at the TV, being like, "Stop it! Just stop it! I can't absorb all of this."
Some of them, I was like, "It's not April 1st yet. This has got to be an April Fool's joke. What do you mean you traded Foles away for Sam Bradford?"
That one blew my mind.
I
literally
crazy.
Mind blown. I actually had to check my phone twice because I almost dropped it because I was like, no. Mm-mm. It was kind of like I was at Social Media Week in New York 2 weeks ago, and there was this great talk that was by the guy who made Tinder. And he had everyone download Tinder, the app. Now, I'm married, and I get on this Tinder app to look at the UI, which is, the design of the app. And I'm like playing with it, and I was like, well, I'll just try to right swipe someone. And then it was like, boom, match. And I was like, oh my gosh, and I dropped my phone. And I was like, that's how I felt when I saw the Foles thing. I was like, no, I'm married. No.
And as you all can imagine, we're pretty addicted to football and fantasy football, and we have a group text between our family. It's Brandon and I's husbands, all three of us sisters, and mom and dad. And my husband's working all day. He didn't get a chance to break, and he's like, pulls up his phone, and there's like 25 missed text messages. And he's like, did somebody die? What happened? Free agency is what happened.
Well, and the best part is that our dad and Courtney's husband, Tim, they basically just blast out these rumors that they see somewhere, and it's been such a crazy year that I have to second guess myself, and I'm like, shut up, Tim Tebow, the Browns? What? And then I would be like, okay, what crack are they smoking here? Like, but it's been such a weird year that I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, what happened is, so there's all these fake accounts for Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. So make sure that you check. There's like they did a handle that's almost the exact same and then used the same photo. So they're specifically putting out bad rumors. So make sure that it's actually Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport when you're actually reporting these things and retweeting them, because that's how we're getting all these rumors out there, is because these fake accounts are telling people this. So they're trying to report these fake accounts, and whenever I see them, I report them. But make sure that you check it.
You're such a real
guy. And I mute them. I do the whole thing because I'm like, how rude.
How dare you?
Tebow is not going to Houston.
How could you?
Sure.
This is just a lie.
Yeah. And we go to Twitter for real news, people.
It's true. It's a news feed.
This is legit.
It is a news feed.
It's like how the Daily Show is legit news these days.
That's right.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Adapt.
Well, we will go team by team and talk about all the changes in the NFL, but players that are still available. DeMarco Murray. I mean,
Crazy.
find that man a home. It's so bananas. I don't know.
He's on his way to Philly.
He's on his way
they're
to Philly. He called the Philly guy and was like, or I think the GM was just like, I want to be an Eagle. That's where I want to be. That's my home. I want to play with Bradford. They're buddies from college, and
they were roommates.
Yeah, I mean,
So we know Chip Kelly loves college.
Right.
Is there a weird disconnect for anybody else with Sam Bradford and DeMarco Murray being roommates in college? I'm trying to imagine like board game nights between these two in the dorm room, and
They're playing Settlers of Catan.
right. I mean, I'm just trying to envision, because I mean, Sam Bradford's like so just like vanilla to me, and then you hear these crazy stories about DeMarco Murray. I'm like, oh, I would wish I was a fly on the wall in that dorm room.
I know. He always has like rumors, and I feel like if there was a rumor about Sam Bradford, it would be something like he doesn't do his laundry enough.
Yes.
Like, it wouldn't be like anything scandalous,
Yes.
you know? It'd be like, oh, well,
Like,
okay.
that idiot mixes whites with dirt.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be anything cool like DeMarco Murray. Like I feel like
no.
I feel like a night on the town with DeMarco Murray would be really fun, and like a night on the town with Sam Bradford would be fun for me because I'm a nerd.
It'd probably be the opposite.
Right.
Sam Bradford would probably like tear it apart, and we're thinking that like
Right.
That's probably how he
actually
gets
pulled
injured
us.
every season. He's probably like throwing down Pottage Central. Joke's on us, guys.
Yeah,
On us.
big time, big time. He's like rocking it. He's Gronk style.
Gronk. Well, and then Justin Forsett, he still hasn't been signed, and I just love his response. I'm just looking for a commitment, you know. I just want to share, you know. I just want them to know they're invested in me, you know. It's like his Facebook status, you know. It's just like, oh, it's complicated right now, and I don't
I'm
want it
waiting
to
for
be.
the one. I'm waiting for the right one.
Yeah,
I
gotta
want
let the
that
right
right
one in.
fit. That's right.
He's an interesting pickup, though, so I'd be intrigued to see where he's going to land. I think a team would be very happy with him.
What is the rumors about him?
Baltimore's got to re-sign him. I mean, I
They
think
really should. I don't understand why they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think they will re-sign him. And if not, I mean, there's other teams. I just don't think that. I don't know. They gotta re-sign him. I think they're gonna re-sign him.
What's
That's
the hold up, though? Like, it's like a tease, right? It's like, I don't want to know I really like him.
Well, they
want to pay low price.
Test the market and then not get picked up so they can pay him less. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's what the problem is with Adrian Peterson too.
Well, there's
Everyone's waiting to see
Adrian Peterson.
There are a lot of problems with Adrian
There's
Peterson.
a lot of problems there.
But
Let's not compare Forsett with AP when it comes to problems.
certainly not. Forsett. My apologies. No, but I mean, like, this whole running back market is so messed up because everyone's just trying to drive the prices down. And
It could work, or it could blow up in your face. We'll see.
yeah, or you could end up with no one.
Yep.
Browns.
So sad. And Kuhn.
Sad.
Kuhn is a free agent. What? How can Green Bay not sign him out of just
I think
pure
they're taking him back.
enjoyment of the fact that yeah, I mean, come on.
It's almost as synonymous as the Lambeau Leap. Hearing the Coon cheers, Green Bay. It's over. It's
Yeah.
over now.
I know when you think they're booing them and it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm,
No.
you know, we're gonna get to them. We're gonna get to Green Bay, and I'm glad they got Randall Cobb back. I think they'll take him back. I think John Kuhn will go back.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really do. Well, we'll see. I mean, we record this show Wednesday night and we put it out Thursday morning. So just remember, if Murray gets picked up by then, it's not that we're behind. It's just that we record early, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's move into that's right. Let's move into the teams. AFC East. Well, the New England Patriots. What have they done? You know, they haven't done much. I don't know if you knew this, but they won the Super Bowl. So
Yeah. They don't need to make a whole lot of
riding it
moves.
out. Yeah.
yeah, I think that you know, they got their main target and free safety Devin McCourty, and yeah, that was big. And they lost Rivas and, you know, a couple other guys on their defense, which is a big deal because surprisingly enough, that the New England Patriots had the same amount of fantasy points as the Seattle Seahawks defense. Everybody, so they're gonna have to restructure. But you know what? It's Belichick. That man has got crazy stuff, like some serious voodoo. I don't, you know,
Witchcraft.
seriously, witchcraft. I mean,
And he doesn't like old people. If you notice this, he's like,
Yeah.
I feel like if you join the Patriots, you know when you hit a certain age, you're done with it. It's over. He doesn't invest in that. He's like, I'm not gonna put my money towards somebody that's gonna be a declining product in a couple of years. It's just
Right.
like understood. It's understood with Belichick.
He's like, oh, you're 29. Awesome.
Great. Good to
Somewhere
know
else.
you.
although there is rumors that he is courting Percy Harvin, so I don't know.
He's only
great.
26.
Yeah.
Can you believe
Added
that?
to the
Mental
nightmare.
case, yeah.
I feel like he's been like plaguing me for years.
Years.
Seriously.
Patriots are a perfect place for him.
Perfect.
Randy Moss.
And I'm happy Shane Vereen found his way out.
That's really interesting one.
Yeah. Good
One of
for
my
Shane.
favorite moves.
Yeah, good for Shane Vereen. I'm excited for you signing the New York Giants. And this leaves, Blunt, Gray, possibly Stephen Ridley if they re-sign him. It's still a crowded backfield, you guys. It's still Belichick. I'm not convinced until I see preseason of drafting any of them again. So, buyers beware. Still not my favorite. Nope. And congratulations for Reva, still getting paid and he's old as dirt. I like that.
Our girl Casey Kasem actually tweeted at us, is it bad that I'm just waiting to see who New England picks up so I know who not to draft next year?
Yeah, I saw that. That's perfect.
I was like,
it's so true, though, right? I was like, this doesn't change anything,
true,
people.
Casey.
You're still not going near that backfield.
No.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Buffalo Bills.
Sexy Rexy, always bringing the flash.
Love it.
So, free agency basically kicked off with this crazy, straight-up trade, LaShawn McCoy for Kiko Alonso. Now, Kiko Alonso is a great linebacker, don't get me wrong, but he's injury, and it's risky. Could be great, a little risky. LaShawn McCoy,
I love
he's
this.
He's fantastic. I mean, I don't understand. I just don't understand this whole thing. But listen, they're stacked at defense, so they can get rid of Kiko Alonso, and Rex Ryan makes every defense better anyway. So this was a great trade for them. Absolutely. McCoy finished the season with 1,319 yards, which might surprise you. It was the third most in the league. I know that everyone that owned him can't believe that, but that actually was the total, which is nuts. But the problem is that he only had 5 touchdowns. And he only had 28 receptions, which was down from 52 receptions the year before. So you didn't get your PPR.
That's not a LaShawn McCoy problem.
No.
That is a philosophy change in offensive scheme problem.
Absolutely. So it wasn't a decline in his skills. It was a decline in the game plan. So the good news is that Sexy Rexy loves to run the ball. He is going to be used. He's excited to be a Bill. I'm excited for him to be there. I'm all in. He'll turn 27 in July, and everyone's talking about how he's getting older, and I'm sorry, 27 is still not old, even as a running back in the NFL, so I don't know what that's all about. So let people downgrade him a little bit. You can keep thinking he's awesome. Definitely a drafter, in my opinion. You guys think this is a good move?
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Go Bills. Oh, you know what? I love it.
I thought I'd offer it.
Brandon bought my kids Sammy Watkins jerseys last year because they're huge Watkins fantasy fans. Yeah, Sammy Watkins. They do their touchdown dance and all. It's great. And Rex is my favorite coach of all time, minus Gruden. And when he went to the Bills, I was like, bam, I love it. Sorry, Jets, I'm no longer a fan, but the Bills, you're my number 2.
It's so funny, Courtney. I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, every year we draw teams out of the hat who gets to report on them. And I was like, it's going to be like a bloodbath as we're all going to want the Bills because they're so freaking exciting this year. Yes. I am jazzed. I am all about them. I think there's been great moves. I love Sexy Rexy. I think the defense is going to be set. I love the LaShawn McCoy edition. I think that's fantastic. I think that's going to possibly up E.J. Manuel's game. That's going to give him some confidence and kind of open up the game plan for him. So I am pumped. Bills, baby. Love it.
So here's some insider info, though. A sneaky little signing that they did, which is actually unbelievable, was fullback Jerome Felton, who is the fullback responsible for the 2,000-plus yard season of Adrian Peterson in 2012. Rex Ryan's going to use a fullback. That's just more for LaShawn McCoy to run. It's a very sneaky pickup that just happened. So these are the things that you have to look for, you guys, and it's a really great sign. Also, Fred Jackson, they almost didn't bring him back. But then the fans started a Facebook group called Keep Fred Jackson in Buffalo, and the owner was going to get involved. And anyway, they're not going to touch his contract. It's great. But I just wanted to say, I, too, stand with the fans and love Fred Jackson, and he will never die.
As weird as it sounds, this is almost a better thing for Fred because there's always been this DJ Spiller, right? Where it's kind of like who's going to start, who's going to have time. Where when you've got LaShawn and you've got Fred Jackson, you're going to have to have very decisive plays for each.
Right.
It's not going to be a who's who, who's doing what, who's the starter. This is just better for everybody in terms of knowing their roles.
Absolutely. And speaking of EJ Manuel, they brought in Matt Castle. Now, I know that this isn't quarterback controversy, and you know I hate quarterback controversies, but I think the good news is that they do need a veteran there to help mentor and to maybe compete or be the starter straight up. But I think that this actually does give EJ Manuel a shot in a really weird way. So the good news is that they have two options of game managers, but if they have a running back like LaShawn McCoy and they have that awesome defense, I think this is great.
And Sammy Watkins, you can't forget they still, like he's gonna be open more now because they're gonna be focusing on the run, and that only is gonna help, the sophomore wide receivers. So.
And they got rid of Scott Chandler, but they're thinking about bringing in Charles Clay. They're working on a contract with him, and I think that could be awesome. But the Browns are supposedly interested too, but supposedly the Bills are pushing really hard. So let's hope for that too for their offense.
Go Bills. Go Bills.
Done.
Miami Dolphins.
So I always get to name these shows when I have to post them, and I wanted to name this the Brandon Show because Brandon's teams has all the fun info. And the Dolphins are pretty unexciting. Quite honestly, really the biggest thing is Ndamukong Suh, right? Which is huge. But it's huge because they're already a good defense, and this adds a really kind of extra spunk that they needed. Now it's also extra drama because we're just getting off the whole, Jonathan Martin issue, whatnot. So, and Suh, as we all know, is suspension prone. Likes to step on people's faces.
He's a competitor. Lay
off.
This
is part of what you get with him, and he adds a grittiness that I think the Dolphins' defense was lacking a little bit to kind of knock them into that top-tier defense.
And leadership. Suh brings so much leadership, even though he's still a younger guy. I mean, I will say that is a ridiculous amount of money to pay somebody.
He's the highest paid defensive player now.
$60 million guaranteed. Is that for real? I don't know. I just feel like, that Miami needs a lot of work in a lot of areas. That's a lot of money to spend on one person.
It's a lot of money to type into one person, certainly.
I'm sure they have a plan.
It doesn't leave a whole lot of room for growth on the offense, where they certainly need some growth. Certainly.
Yeah.
But I think they're kind of riding what they've got, and their defense is better than their offense, so I think they're trying to shore that up. And it could mean some really interesting moves in terms of the draft.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to have a bit more of a draft approach when it comes to filling these roles in the offense than they are. I think they're sticking primarily defense free agency, which makes sense with the Bryson Kane acquisition as well. And then Jason Fox, the offensive tackle, they re-signed him. He's like a backup on the depth chart. It's nothing super great to even mention, but so not a whole lot. I'm waiting to see what they're going to do in the draft, and we'll see.
So I will say, a good division this year now, huh? We thought the Jets would be good, right? Well, they still don't have a quarterback, but c'est la vie. Miami might not have an offense, but all of these guys' defenses,
they're legit Ds.
Legit, yeah, really good. Let's get to the Jets.
Well, this is going to sound really crazy, but I'm going to read you a list of fabulous moves, and they're all from the New York Jets. That's a first. That's a first time for all of this. Ryan Fitzpatrick came to the Jets today from the Texans in exchange for a conditional 7th-round pick in 2016. Now, they were also going for Brian Hoyer. Hoyer went to the Texans, and then Fitzpatrick came to the Jets. I actually like this. Once again. Okay, so oddly enough, the offensive coordinator, Chan Gailey, was the head coach when Fitzpatrick was at Buffalo. And Fitzpatrick actually had a pretty decent run in Buffalo with no weapons. Nothing supporting him whatsoever. And quietly, he had the 9th highest quarterback ranking last year. No one really talked about it. Now, he was helped by that amazing Week 13 game where he had like a perfect game. But still, he had a really decent season, especially considering he hadn't won the starting job completely. So he's going in and out of as the starting quarterback and still ended up with the 9th highest quarterback ranking. Geno Smith is still going to vie for that position, and Geno Smith is just so up and down, up and down. If he got consistent and just the medium, they still could win games. I feel like this is a good thing for both of them. I really think that this could work out, kind of like the Matt Castle, EJ Manuel thing. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's better.
Fitzy's so intelligent, too, that he's able to pick up new play games. So this is really going to help, like you're saying, Geno, kind of really hone in, right? Because Fitzy's just going to get it. Geno may have possibly, I'm not going to say for sure, the more raw talent there, but Fitzy's going to be such a great veteran leadership to help kind of hone Geno's skills here.
Absolutely, and I really hope that his son does more math equations for us during press conferences.
Love it.
So cute. Brandon Marshall, this one also
blew my mind.
Blew.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm sorry. I literally have all the
Do you think this is why Jay Cutler had to go on vacation? He just couldn't even handle it?
Yeah, he literally...
I lost my only friend. I lost my only friend.
I went to Jamaica last week for my honeymoon, and literally when I heard that Jay Cutler needed to go on vacation, I was like, oh, I've been there. Yeah, got to get away.
Gotta get away.
I'm just going to bust out my short shorts and walk the beach because B. Marsh is gone.
Do you know what's even crazier? It was for a 5th-round pick.
I couldn't believe it. What do they know that we don't know? Is his injuries like that bad?
It was a rib problem. No, he had an ankle problem earlier in the season, but he actually went out for the season. Remember, because he had a rib that was going to like maybe puncture his heart. It just needed to heal.
I don't know.
That
kind of trade means that like there's something up. Like I don't know. My value does not go up on Marshall moving to the Jets. I'm concerned that that's what they got for Brandon Marshall. I don't know.
The best part of free agency is like conspiracy theory time, right?
Oh, yeah.
What am I about? Do you think that's anything with color where they're like, we need to separate these two?
I do.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like maybe there's some toxic energy there, and they're like, this is Cutler's last chance. We just separate him from Marshall. If it doesn't work, we're done.
I think there's a possibility of that. Listen, Marshall played with Todd Bowles in 2010 to 2011 for the Dolphins. He just turned 30 in March, so he is older. But he got injured, but it didn't look like he was, terrible. I don't understand this at all. He was injured a lot of the season. But, it was his first time since 2007 not going over 1,000 yards. And I'll tell you what this does. Yes, he's not going to have as many yards as he did with Cutler because certainly Geno Smith and Fitzpatrick aren't gunslingers. But it does up he and Eric Decker's stock. Eric Decker is now in the perfect position to get 1,000+ yards again.
Yeah, I agree.
Receiver. It's a great situation for the Jets. They just upgraded everything. It was just nuts. And
we've also upgraded drama, right? For blowouts that are going to happen, we're going to see some fantastic sideline drama, right?
Right. And you know what?
They're not going to be happy, and Geno's going to get chewed out, and it's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Sideline drama, and then they got rid of Percy Harvin because they got Brandon Marshall. And where is he going? The Bills. Because all they're doing is switching back and forth, really. The Jets and the Bills. It's amazing. But the Jets still have Chris Ivory and Bilal Powell, but Chris Johnson went to free agency and got shot in the arm in a drive-by shooting that injured him and another guy and killed someone.
Oh.
Did you hear about this in Orlando?
No.
Yes, I couldn't believe it.
Nuts. Totally nuts. So good, get well soon, Chris Johnson, and I'm so sorry. What the ugh. But anyway, what I was going to say though is that I think that they're going to focus on a running back at the draft. They have
to.
I mean, Chris Ivory.
There's some good running backs out there this year, so.
Also, put it in now. Jason Mara is a tight end. Look for him as a sleeper going forward. And then, of course, in my opinion, a great signing that all of my friends freaked out about that are Jets fans. Darrelle Revis coming back home. 5 years, $70 million contract with $39 million guaranteed. And you know what? He deserves it. And I know that sounds crazy to say about that amount of money, but he continues to be the best. And if people have money, spend the money. Spend the money on the players you want.
They have serious cap space. So, and he's a hometown favorite, right?
He's a hometown favorite. He's a difference maker. He only allowed 29 yards in all 3 playoff games with the New England Patriots this year. That's it.
Yeah.
He's nuts, you guys. He's nuts. And I understand, and everyone keeps saying, oh, you paid too much. You don't pay too much if you have the money and you want the player. I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like, now listen, I think obviously all these players make a lot of money. This is just all ridiculous. But what I'm saying is that when it comes to market value, there's a certain thing. I just feel like out of all of these players, he's proven it the most. I think he should be making more money than Dominic Sue.
I think there's a difference between this and the Dolphins, right? In the sense that the Jets have made big moves. They've put themselves in a position to acquire the positions that they needed. Whereas really the Dolphins have really only acquired Ndamukong Suh. They haven't addressed any other issues. So while the Jets have put this money towards Revis, they've still addressed other issues, and they're more comprehensive unit than the Dolphins at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's different in terms of that allocation of money, in terms of wise use.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, Idzik didn't spend any money last year, and they were terrible. So now this year, they can get Darrelle Revis. I guess that's what you win. I don't know. It's just like, yeah, because I don't know how they got all these players in one free agency. I don't understand what happened.
Because they got Brandon Marshall for a 5th round pick.
So insulting.
That I just is like, oh, he like basically just like walked on the team. It was like, hey, I'm here.
It's like, so stupid. That is just so. I can't.
Courtney's worth a 5th round pick. This is crazy.
It's crazy. Ugh. Well, it's an exciting division this year for sure.
Absolutely.
AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Again, so boring. The Steelers have done
boring. Nothing.
Like nothing. Really, the biggest thing is when they re-signed Jason Spaeth, backup tight end to Heath Miller. Way to go. What they should have done is give Brandon Marshall for a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Every team should have done.
Everybody should have done that.
Everybody's like, man, if I would have known.
Yeah,
man.
Between that and the Eagles, you just want to go there and be like, what can I buy? What can I buy?
Right? It makes you want to throw out any possible offer because someone apparently is going to accept it. It's crazy. Crazy. Nuts. Yeah, that's it for the Steelers. They've done nothing. They've been boring.
That's it. Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals started off free agency by signing veteran linebacker A.J. Hawk and securing linebacker Ray Mataluga. And that's the biggest things for them. That is big. They're also reportedly very interested in defensive tackle Nick Fairley. So with him next to Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap, I mean, Cincinnati's defense is draftable next year. They are winning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, especially in the division they're in. Pittsburgh Steelers, hopefully they're great again. But, I mean, Cleveland Browns, Baltimore Ravens gave up their whole team. Basically, that's 4 games. Hopefully their defense can come on top. So, I love that. I just love it. And, Jermaine Gresham is a free agent. So we'll see. Supposedly they want to re-sign him, but he is talking to a lot of other teams. I feel like he's proven himself to be a vulnerable red zone target. So hopefully they get him back for Dalton to, throw a few less interceptions. We'll see.
Maybe they didn't hear that tight ends are terrible.
Yeah.
They should hold on to the one they have. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't listen to the show. I have a tight end?
Newsflash.
Yeah. Is it worth printing his last name on the back of his jersey? Yeah. Okay. Then we're keeping him. That's it. Cleveland Browns.
Before free agency even started, the Browns decided to pick up Josh McCown, who had been cut from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a 3-year, $14 million contract. And they let Hoyer go. And now they're saying, and they're keeping Johnny Manziel, so don't worry, he's not going anywhere. We still have a lot to talk about. They want to pick up at least one more quarterback. So
why wouldn't they, Brandon? It's only logical.
Oh man, I love it.
I don't know. I mean, Josh McCown couldn't get it done with Vincent Jackson and Mike Evans, so why can't it get it done with Brian Hartline and Andrew Hopkins?
Yay.
So that's the other pickup, is that they picked up Brian Hartline, who's only 28 years old. I swear to God, he's been in the league 10 years. Oh. I literally was like, I can't believe that he's only 28 years old.
Well, it also doesn't help in the Dolphins jerseys. Like, they all look like they're from 1984. You
Is that
know,
what
so
it
it
is,
feels
maybe?
like, yeah, it feels like they've all been there for years because that, you know,
I feel like I've been
Christine and
disappointed for so many years by him, but I guess
mm,
it's only like 4.
yeah, he's just,
Still a
yeah,
lot of years someone disappoint you.
yeah,
It's true.
that's true. It's true.
So
That's
true.
Oh,
And other than that, they might get Jordan Cameron back. They might not. And I just know that Jordan Cameron left willingly, so I think they'd have to offer him a lot of money for him to come back. Other than that, pretty quiet, and they need a lot.
yeah. Well, the Ravens need a lot.
Yeah.
They just gave away their whole team. Like, just like gave it away. Like, oh, just take everybody.
Oh man, yeah.
They need to pick up a receiver. They don't have a receiver except Steve Smith Sr., who is like 2 seconds away from retiring. This needs to happen. Like, come on, Flacco. Like, they need to give Flacco some targets. He doesn't even have a tight end. I mean, come on. And Justin Forsett. He's still there.
They
He's
need him back. I
figuring-
love Justin Forsett.
Yeah. I mean, if they don't take Forsett, I think they're going to take Pierre Thomas. And
That's ridiculous.
that's ridiculous. I mean, that hurts you fantasy-wise, right? I mean, that's just like, how can you like make that trade in your head and think that's cool?
No.
No, just bad. And you know, wide receiver Torrey Smith, gone. Jacoby Jones, gone. Owen Daniels, gone. So basically, you're not drafting anybody from the Ravens at this point because Flacco, you can't draft him because who's he going to throw to? Steve Smith is going to be double covered. Steve Smith Sr. is going to be double covered at this point. That's crazy talk. Crazy.
And it's not even like they have that good of a draft pick.
No, that's the
No.
craziest part. Like, why unleash your entire team when you don't even have the opportunity to really rebuild it?
I mean, Harbaugh really just thinks he's got like this Chip Kelly attitude where it's I can make my team with anybody as long as they're playing under me. That's what it seems like to me. I mean, they literally don't care about the Revises and the Murrays and the big names out there. They just bye bye team.
Even Bill Belichick is like, Darrelle Revis was worth that money to win one more Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They paid
Absolutely.
him. They paid Darrelle Revis. They were like, you know what? We know exactly what we need.
Yeah.
And it's you.
It's you. But for 1 year, because you're too old under my Belichick clause.
Exactly. Well, and that's and Revis
Your
got
late
the
20s.
deal with the Jets that he wanted to get with the Jets, before.
And he loves the
Before
Jets.
leaving
He
them.
loves the
Yeah,
Jets.
so it's
Yeah.
I mean, literally Baltimore's so screwed up. We're back onto Revis. That's what's going on. Let's move on. AFC South, Tennessee Titans. Who? What? They still in the NFL?
I know. You wouldn't think so. They really haven't made many moves either. Just boring.
Must be because of their really successful season last year.
It must be. They're really banking on that draft here, apparently. Some fantastic names, though. Denoris Cersei, safety. He came from the Buffalo Bills. And then Bo Brinkley. Love that one, too. He's a center. So we re-signed him, and he's just kind of a lawn snapper, but he apparently can play some tight end as well. So, and then we've got Harry Douglas, wide receiver. He came from the Falcons. I'm intrigued by this. Now, Jake Locker announced that he was retiring.
That
At the young age of
was-
26.
Did you hear him?
Yeah, he's just like, I don't love the game anymore. It's not fair to my next team.
I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's been kind of jerked around a bit, let's be honest, right? I mean, number 8 pick in the 2011 draft, they've never really fully invested in him or put players around him to make anything happen.
Yeah.
And he's only had 30 career appearances, so, I mean...
And he kept getting hurt because they never got an offensive line.
Never had an offensive line. This retirement is also partially due to injuries, right? Because at some point, I agree with him. Is it worth it? No one's investing in me. I'm getting hurt. You're not putting people around me. This is a dangerous sport. With that said, this has absolutely no fantasy impact to you, as nobody had Jake Locker on their fantasy team. But nonetheless, I thought we should mention that. So the Titans haven't really done a whole lot. Again, I am intrigued by Harry Douglas, and they're probably going to be investing in Zach Mettenberger / the draft. Who knows? Draft could get crazy.
Cray.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
That's
this
about
year.
it.
'Cause
I think
after
so
this free
too.
agency, like,
I don't trust anyone.
I don't trust anybody. I
Nope.
don't trust anyone.
I have trust issues.
Well, you know, I think they see Belichick got another Super Bowl, and they're like, we got to do this. We got to play this game.
We got to
all
up the crazy.
We got to up the crazy.
Up the crazy.
Up the crazy in the NFL. Woo! Indianapolis Colts, they had a great team last year, and
They're gonna be
now
good
they're
this
going to
year.
have a fantastic year. 2015 Super Bowl champs, or 2016,
Ooh.
right? Can we call it?
Calling
Is it
it
too
now?
early? Is it too early? Now, everybody beware. We did call the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last year. It was sort of pseudo joke. A pseudo joke. This
We
one,
always joke.
this one's legit. You know, they got Frank Gore yesterday. They just picked up Andre Johnson today.
Love this pickup.
Signed his. I love it, love it, love it. So here's the deal. Frank Gore got offered basically the same contract he ended up signing with the Colts with the Eagles. But the second Andre Johnson got cut, Frank Gore called him. They went to college together and was like, Andre, who do you think has the best chance to go to the Super Bowl? He's like, what are you thinking, Frank? Bam. He's like, it's the Colts. He's like, all right. They double team down on the Colts GM and management, and they're like, this is it. We want to be there. We want to win the Super Bowl with you guys. And I think they have a really good chance to do it. I am super excited for the Colts next year. And I don't know. They already have Andrew Luck, T.Y. Hilton, Dwayne Allen, drop ball, touchdown, McGee, Kobe Fleener.
Fleener.
Kobe Fleener, an enigma.
An enigma. The man, the mystery.
I just had to add him in. He's
Of course you do. Because somehow he makes huge plays and then he drops. Nothing in between.
Yeah, and not only that, but they also improved their defense. They signed linebacker Trent Cole, defensive tackle Kendall Langford. I mean, they've done some moves. They are going to be a huge threat. So I am super, super excited. I love Andre Johnson. I cannot imagine Andre Johnson in fantasy with only being single covered for the first time in his career. I mean, he's actually playing on a team that has weapons. This is going to be exciting. Awesome.
Well, they're also in the easiest division in all of football.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like Courtney said, he's not going to be double covered, right? So this could maybe be one of his best seasons ever.
Until he plays J.J. Watt.
I honestly believe it. But I mean, I'm loving the Frank Gore piece here too, because if they don't utilize Frank Gore, I will lose my mind. I'm going to think there's like some random something on Frank Gore's head saying he absolutely is not allowed to have X number of touches a game, and this is NFL mandated if they do not actually play him.
The number one question of the 2014 fantasy football season is, why not hand Frank Gore the ball? Number one question.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing that happened.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah. The 2014 season, yeah. Boom. Crazy. Yeah. Well,
they're going to make it right over there. They're going to make it right in Indy.
They're going to make it. Houston Texans.
Well, like we just said, Andre Johnson is gone, picked up by the Colts, and I love it. Brian Hoyer, as Brennan mentioned, from Cleveland.
I hope he does really well.
I hope he does too. I hope that he kind of gets that fresh start that I think was needed. I don't think he really got a fair.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, I feel like it's kind of like my Oakland Raiders. Like, I always hope that they do well. And but they're still the Raiders.
Well, Fitzy and his beard was traded to the Jets.
Hoyer's still Hoyer, unfortunately.
Hoyer's Hoyer. And Hoyer's going to allegedly compete with Ryan Mallett and Tom Savage for the starting spot. I don't think Savage has a shot. Maybe Mallett. But I hope they give Hoyer the real shot at this, quite honestly. I really hope they do.
Does it feel like toddlers playing Candyland? Like, does anyone really win?
No, but it's always interesting, right?
No.
It's just like we're all playing. It's nice. We're all on the same level.
They definitely gave Hoyer more money, right? So it's 4.75 guaranteed, 1.5 a year, 5.2 in year 2. Whereas they re-signed Mallett for 2 years, $7 million. So when you add that together, it's kind of like, well, they're not really sure what's going on. Technically, it's a little bit more money up front for Hoyer. It's going to be interesting. Again, we all hate quarterback controversy. We hate it.
Hate.
Hate, hate, hate. Kareem Jackson, cornerback, he was re-signed as well. So they haven't made a whole lot of changes either thus far, which, quite honestly, they needed some help. So these are the moments of free agency where you get confused. You're like, did you forget the deadline? Did you talk to anybody? What do you got going on
wake
here?
up, pick up the
Wake
phone. It's not just
up.
giving away. You're supposed to take too.
Right? Didn't you
Texans need to
get
stop.
Brandon Marshall for a fifth-year pack? Get with it.
If you didn't get Brandon Marshall for a 5th-round pick, you lost.
Loser.
You
You're
lost.
such a loser. Yeah.
Sorry.
Unless you're the Colts. But yeah.
True. You just got people for straight up free.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Texans don't offer much other than defense at this point, fantasy implication-wise. We gotta wait. We gotta wait and see.
Let's do it. See this draft. Jacksonville Jaguars. Let the drama continue.
So Jacksonville Jaguars actually made some decent moves. I'm very impressed with our little engine that could.
Yep.
First of all, they stole our Julius Thomas.
Good.
He's no longer orange Julius. He's now kind of a tealish, aqua-colored Julius.
I'm okay with that.
Totally love the uniforms.
Yep. It's a big upgrade for Bortles, though. And, it's a big red zone target. He didn't have it. Unfortunately, they don't get to the red zone very often.
Yeah.
So that's going to hurt Julius Thomas.
Bye-bye, Julius. No longer number 3 tight end.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Julius also can't block, which is also slightly problematic.
And he's not very smart. So that too is it's going to be a problem. But who knows? Maybe Bortles is really intelligent and he will coach him through it. I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit of the blind leading the blind. But
they're keeping Mercedes Lewis, right, Brennan?
They are keeping Mercedes Lewis, and maybe he's going to mentor Julius a little bit because Julius kind of was in a weird position with the Broncos where he was like the lead guy when I think he probably needed someone else to kind of.
I think Lewis will take on a Selleck role in a 2 tight end set, right? So
yeah, I do too.
Tight end sets have Lewis at the blocking and then head Julius on the other side.
Right. And they have to do that.
We'll stack on one side.
And they have to do that because their offensive line was the worst in the league. They allowed 55 sacks last year, league high. They need to be able to do that for Blake Bortles to do anything. He can't do anything until they have an offensive line. And neither can Julius Thomas or anyone else. So now, to be fair, they did get the right tackle from the Dallas Cowboys, Jeremy Parnell. But the problem is Jeremy Parnell only started 5 regular season games, but both of the playoff games. So he was looked at as someone that was improving. They signed him to a 5-year, $32 million deal. So they obviously saw something in those 7 games that they really believed in, but anything is an upgrade from last year. So, and Dallas really did have a great offensive line last year. So this is a move in the right direction. Also, they're really big on DeMarco Murray, even though DeMarco Murray's on the way to the Eagles. But if they don't get him, they have their same Denard Robinson, Toby Gerhart, Storm Johnson trio, whatever that's about.
AP,
and then
an AP still out there. Who knows?
Who knows? And the thing is, they did a ton of activity for defense. They signed 4 big starters on defense in one day. So I think they're actually going in the right direction. And I think the Jaguars have a little spunk.
They do have a little spunk.
They need a good draft, though. Let's be honest.
They really do.
Yeah. They need a couple more years maybe. AFC West, the Denver Broncos.
So the Broncos have been interesting. They had such a huge free agency year last year, right? Where they were
went crazy.
Bills and Eagles.
Yeah. And they were Chip Kelly, but smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Chip Kelly was a little less crazy.
Oh no, duh, Chip Kelly. Yeah.
Right. Whereas this year, Elway's kind of taken a bit more of a laid-back approach and seeing what the market's going to dictate price-wise, which has been kind of interesting. So obviously we had the Peyton Manning drama. He came back. We all knew he would. He renegotiated his contract, took a little bit less money. Although he's got a pretty great bonus plan built in here. $2 million bonus for an AFC championship, and a $2 million bonus for a Super Bowl. So
and another 100
million, and then it's so you can't feel too bad for him, and so that's great. I think you should negotiate down. You got plenty of money. Why wouldn't you? Demaryius Thomas, he's been franchise tagged. We all knew that was going to happen. I loved that there was drama between will they franchise tag Demaryius Thomas or Julius Thomas? And I'm like, is this for real? Is this a real question as to who you should franchise tag? Negotiations are still ongoing with him, but he's staying with the Broncos, which is great. Like we mentioned, Julius Thomas, he is off, he is gone, he's with the Jags now. But what the Broncos did is they picked up Owen Daniels. So Owen Daniels this is interesting. He's basically always played with Kubiak. That has always been his coach. He knows his system. With Kubiak, he can block, which is great because that's what the big issue was with Julius. And he also is actually a viable target. He's got good hands. If they actually use him.
If they use him.
And he stays healthy.
If he stays healthy. But, we got Virgil Green as well, who's a tight end. So
I actually secretly like Virgil Green.
I like Virgil Green, too.
It's his name, guys.
He's a good blocker.
He is a good blocker.
When he was in,
he is a good blocker.
He was a really good blocker. Yeah,
he was, yeah.
I like blocking tight ends. They have a little soft spot for me. I know I play fantasy and I shouldn't like them, but I secretly like them.
Yeah, they really piss me off, but...
They're old school.
Brent Selleck.
I like them as long as you know what they are, right? That's why you don't ever pick Brent Selleck up, because you're like, unless you really need a flyer and you're in desperate need and like your tight end's on a bye, you're like, well, maybe he'll get hit in the end zone. Maybe.
Right.
As long as you know, then it's fine. It's all good. And then they also signed Steven Johnson, who's a linebacker. They re-signed him. He's going to play middle linebacker position, and this is really important because they're transitioning to the 3-4 defense. So this was another important piece they picked up. So should be interesting.
Let's do it, Broncos. San Diego Chargers.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on here, which is really terrifying because they weren't very good. So Ryan Matthews is gone, and he only played 6 games last year, so we can't cry too hard. But that does only leave them with Danny Woodhead, who didn't play last year because of an injury. Brandon Oliver, who was great for 2 games until everyone realized he was small and they could just block him. And then Donald Brown, who also has injury issues and was just kind of Now, they say that they're confident with that. I say they might need to draft a running back. Something to think about. If they pick up someone...
They drafted a running back years ago, back when they had Ryan Matthews.
Well, it is what it is. Speaking of, supposedly before Andre Johnson decided that he was going to go to the Colts, the Chargers were big time trying to get him. Now, that doesn't mean anything now because Andre Johnson's with the Colts. But what it does mean is that they're probably going to draft a wide receiver and start phasing out maybe Malcolm Floyd. Eddie Royal's already gone. They do have Dontrell Inman. But keep an eye on this draft. They have to start drafting people. But their big problem is their offensive line. They still need to approach that. They just have so many issues, and that's why I don't understand why they haven't done anything. They did get Jacob.
It's probably because they really want to get everybody cheap. They have to get everybody cheap to be able to fill all of the problem spots. They can be a training for another year under Phillip. He's got a couple more years left in him for sure, but they have a lot of holes. Their defense has to get better going up against Jamal Charles and the Denver Broncos.
Now, they did sign Orlando Franklin from the Broncos, which is a big signing for them on the offensive line. And they also re-signed King Dunlap, which was a big offensive line re-signing. So they are looking at it, but there's just so much. They did get Jacoby Jones as well as a return guy, but he's not going to be a wide receiver, so there's no need to draft him. He's there for the return game. FYI.
Yeah.
FYI. Chiefs.
Well, they franchise tagged Justin Houston, which I don't think was a surprise to anybody. That was done pretty immediately, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned for the offensive line. Issues that need to be addressed in free agency. sorry, in the draft, certainly, because their center left. So, and that's hugely important, especially when you had already a struggling line. Now we got the centerpiece is gone. That's a problem. But Jeremy Maclin, wide receiver, formerly with the Eagles. He's an Andy Reid guy. This is exciting. Donnie Avery was cut. Jason Assant still not re-signed.
It's still Alex Smith throwing him the ball. I'm sorry. Maclin's value goes down.
It does.
Smith cannot pass the ball past 20 yards. Maclin is a breakaway receiver. I'm sorry. This does
Courtney,
nothing
this is
for
an
me.
upgrade.
He's not a breakaway. He works in the Z. I mean, I think
he does. That's true. But
I think that the good news is they will get at least one touchdown.
That's what I'm saying. Be positive, Courtney.
We're going to put it in the bank.
This is an upgrade for the Chiefs wide receivers. We're guaranteeing you at least one touchdown.
No one thinks he's going to be a Pro Bowler this year, right? I mean, we're not.
But it's sad because Maclin has crazy talent, and Alex Smith is great at what he does. It's just,
but do you trust Andy Reid?
Throwing. I do love Andy
I
Reid.
have trust in Andy Reid. I feel like Andy Reid knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's true, Ashley. It's true. I mean, he didn't get a receiving touchdown, but you're right. He probably knows what he's doing. He does have Jamal Charles. I'm sorry, it's still Jamal Charles' show.
It's still the Jamal Charles show. It will always be. They
certainly.
need to address that line, right? Because they need to buy Alex Smith enough time to actually throw the ball.
Right.
As you said, Jeremy Maclin, he can go down long. He can do the Z pattern. He's a multifaceted wide receiver. So I like this because he can do whatever, and they have struggling wide receivers, clearly. They can't do anything. So this, again, is an upgrade. I agree it is a downgrade in terms of Maclin's fantasy value. You can't be expecting the kind of numbers you have seen in previous seasons.
Maclin should have gone to the Chargers. That should have been his home. For fantasy value for Maclin, that would have been a win-win situation with Rivers throwing him the balls.
I'm willing to take a flyer on him in a later round with Maclin because I think there's potential.
Oh, absolutely. Well, his talent is great. I love Maclin.
Yeah, he's not like a number one wide receiver. But
yeah.
If Alex Smith hits the gym, he might be able to throw beyond 20 yards again.
He can throw beyond 20 yards.
It's not. No,
he's the least consistent quarterback.
It's not the gym. It's just his style of play. He's a clock manager. He's a short little passer. He's a rely on my running back, and
I think for the next
the Chiefs have been very good since they Reed and Smith are there. So I'm not going to complain. It's just
Yeah.
I'd like to know how many bench presses he did at the combine.
My gosh. Really, Brandon? Do you want to know what Alex Smith's broad jump was?
I want to know what his broad jump is. Yeah. That's right.
I bet.
Yeah.
I think that's an indicator.
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm just saying it's interesting nonetheless, and I think it's a huge upgrade, and we can at least say one touchdown for the Chiefs wide receivers.
Congrats, Chiefs.
Congrats. Bye, Dwayne Bowe. Love you. Raiders. Wow, this is a team that needed a lot. So they've had an exciting but not so exciting offseason. They have a lot of cap space, like a lot of cap space.
They should just throw money on the streets.
I know. Like, if I was them, I'd be like, Murray, we'll pay you, and we'll even let you wear an Eagles jersey, just to be on our team. Like, it's fine. Like, we'll pretend. Like, okay, do we need to do another trade for Bradford? Is this our thing? Like,
Marshall for a 5th round pick.
Yeah. They did get running back Roy Halou, which I love Halou, but that doesn't really do much for your fantasy.
No.
It's, still Halou and Latavius Murray at this point. So we'll see.
I like Murray.
Latavius?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Latavius too. I mean, he's not very smart.
I thought you were saying you liked DeMarco Murray, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Bold statement. I like DeMarco Murray.
Way to go out. I think Jack Del Rio said, he needs to work on his football IQ. So.
Oh, God, he's such a jerk.
I'm okay. Laid it all out there.
Jeez.
Whatever. That's why I wanted Sue to go to the Raiders. It just seems so appropriate to me.
I know. At some point, he'll be a Raider. I feel it.
Oh, yeah. He's a Raider inside for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep down
like a 1970s Raider,
though. Dirty.
Yeah.
I'm talking like Romanowski spitting in your face style Raider.
Yeah. Even though we took Romanowski as a Bronco, but
yeah. And, they're running Maurice Jones-Drew retired, which sad.
Yeah.
I mean, he did nothing last year, but
talented player.
Loves fantasy football. I can't wait to see who his first draft pick is, since he always picks himself. This year is going to be crazy. I'm excited to see who he picks. It doesn't look like they're interested in re-signing Darren McFadden. So
I'm a little sad about that. I have ragged on Darren McFadden for seasons after season after season, and now I feel bad about it because I'm like, really? He's not.
He had a little pop last year.
He always has a pop. That's why everybody gets excited about him, and it's like one singular pop, and everyone's like, "Oh, I can't believe he didn't do anything after that." And I'm like, that's what he does.
I know.
He's not a Raider anymore. I feel bad.
The Raiders did pick up a few people on defense, which is good because they're going up against some pretty tough teams on a regular basis. So this is good. NFC East, the Eagles. Oh my gosh.
I love that someone just put their mic on mute. It was you, Courtney. I say this because actually you were coughing, but I thought it was because, it's Brandon's show again. So where do we begin? So first, they re-signed Mark Sanchez because priorities. And
get it done. Get it done.
Now, to be fair, it was backup money, and he did do a good job as a backup quarterback, so it is what it is. But that is the first thing they did, just to be fair. Then they traded their star running back.
He has to be the most delightful person known to man, Mark Sanchez.
Isn't he just delightful?
Because he has to lack personality to be able to play for Chip Kelly, though.
But the fact that we just sign him, that's the first thing that you do is sign your backup quarterback and make sure you get that deal done. He's just got to literally be the most affable man in the NFL.
I tell you what. He does get coaches that love him. I mean, like Rex Ryan would have died for him.
Yeah.
I mean, Kelly clearly is like, we got to sign this guy. I don't know what the deal is with him. He must be just the most
I'll figure a running back out later.
Yeah. The other stuff, I mean, the O-line, whatever. But my backup quarterback,
get it done.
So that happened first. Then they traded their star running back, LaShawn McCoy, to the Bills for Kiko Alonso, who's a linebacker. He's fantastic, but injury prone. And of course, let me guess, Oregon Duck. Then he let Macklin walk. Now, to be fair, they did offer Macklin $9 million a year. He wanted $11 million. Andy Reid said, okay, I'll give you $11 million. So let's not act like they didn't want Jeremy Macklin. They did want Jeremy Macklin. They just didn't want to pay the price for Jeremy Macklin. So that happened. Then they traded Nick Foles for Sam Bradford, and they lost me. This is where you blow my mind. Not only because you actually traded Nick Foles for Sam Bradford, but you traded Nick Foles and this year's 4th-round draft pick and a conditional 2nd-round draft pick for 2016 to the Rams for Sam Bradford and their 2015 5th-round draft pick. That's right. They gave more draft picks with Nick Foles than they received with Sam Bradford. I can't play football for a whole season.
So Nick Foles has to be the least affable man in the NFL.
Does this make any sense?
No, it doesn't compute.
So crazy. It's so crazy.
It's like I was with him. I was like, okay, so maybe you think you have Darren Sproles, LaShawn McCoy's too similar. Okay, you can get another running back for a discount. Okay, I could go with that. Mark Sanchez, you signed, whatever. But this trade, you lost me. You totally lost me. I don't even know what else to say. And you know what? Listen, he had a disappointing season last year, Nick Foles. He had 11 interceptions. I get it. And then he ended it with an injury. But he's one season away from 27 touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
I'd like to point out, though, Brandon, at least he played.
Exactly.
Sam Bradford hasn't played.
You don't have stats for him.
Sam Bradford didn't play all of 2014 due to a second torn ACL.
Second.
He's gone 18, 30, and 1 as a starter. I don't dislike Sam Bradford. In fact, remember when he got hurt? All of us were like, "This might be the end of his career. This is heartbreaking." And then he goes to the Eagles to be the starter. It's totally crazy. Anyway, they signed Ryan Matthews as well, which is also crazy because once again, injury prone. He did play all 16 games in 2013, but in 2014 he only played 6 games all season.
Right.
It's crazy.
I don't even. And then, the good news is that they did sign 2 cornerbacks, Byron Maxwell from Seattle, and then Walter Thurman III, who's from the Giants en route from Seattle. And at least that makes some sense. Other than that, they only have Jordan Matthews. I literally would not draft anyone else on this team for fantasy. Would you? No, literally. Would you draft anyone on this team?
It's crazy. No, I mean,
it's risky.
No. Nick Foles just changed the game for St. Louis, and I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The Rams are going to win a Super Bowl before the Eagles see one with those 2 quarterbacks playing against each other. If Bradford can even manage to, stay alive for the next year for football. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Nick Foles has got some crazy talent. He is, just a special player. You can see it when he plays, The
ceiling's a lot higher for Nick Foles than Bradford.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
And if the Rams receivers can stay healthy, then you've really got a potential special situation in your hands.
Yep.
Again, I'm not saying Super Bowl
I don't think the
2015,
Rams,
but
yeah. I don't think the Rams receivers are very good. And I think, unfortunately, this is a downgrade for Nick Foles as well. But I think for the Eagles, I don't even know. I mean, of course they signed Mark Sanchez first because they were like, oh, dear God, we're getting Sam Bradford. Like, literally.
Yeah. But again,
Mark Sanchez is going to be starting for the Eagles. At some point, right? Like, we have to accept that Mark Sanchez will be the starter for the Eagles at some point. It blows my
I love
mind.
it. I know, I love it. I was talking today, and I was like, Chip Kelly is on drugs. He is on drugs, and I want some of them because you know what? He's pumped. He's jazzed.
He's in a happy place.
He's unapologetic. He's like, what?
No, the buildings are falling down all around him, and he's like, oh, paradise.
Yeah.
He's just arrogant.
He's either the smartest man in football or
or he just completely just got himself kicked
crazy.
out of the NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think he's just really arrogant. He thinks that his system is more important than the players and that he can do it without stars. And once again, even Bill Belichick did get Darrelle Revis to get a Super Bowl. I'm telling you, difference makers are difference makers. Now,
and they're Tom Brady.
And they have stars on the team.
They have Brady. They have they have
Rob
Gronkowski.
Right,
they do have star players.
Yeah.
You don't get to just do it with all B guys.
No, I'm a big believer in team. I'm a big believer in systems.
Sure,
I am.
Sure.
But you still have to have those moneymaker players, for the potential threat for a defense, right? Where they can hone in on somebody. At this point, they're just like, well, who gives a crap? I'm just going to we're going to run our defense. We'll be able to stop them because they're all B players. If you have nobody on there that is legit, that is a legit threat, it doesn't throw our defense off at all. Like, this is so confusing to me. Like, I don't...
It's just like man to man.
So even if they get DeMarco Murray, right? He had such a crazy year last year running nonstop that he is going to be injury prone. He might not get injured. He might have another fantastic year. Not as fantastic because Dallas's offensive line's amazing, but he could get hurt. Bradford could go down. You have Ray Matthews who could go down.
And Sanchez isn't exactly durable.
No, the whole thing makes no sense.
It's the dominoes. It's just gonna go. It's whatever. I bless your heart, Chip Kelly. Hopefully you know what you're doing because I can't figure it out.
I'm a Chip Kelly supporter.
I know you are.
I actually love his system. I love his system. I just think it operates best with great players. And I'm not saying that these players, obviously everyone that we're talking about who is still on the Eagles are professional athletes. I'm not saying that they're bad. I don't think that they're crappy. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that every once in a while you need to have that special level of athlete in one position to, as you said, draw the defense. Draw attention. Make the game plan different so that you can, utilize the game plan in a way that best suits you as a team. But they don't have one of those guys right now. They don't have even one guy that people are like, whoa, he's scary good. They're like, they play professional sports.
Potentially Murray if he does come on. But then again, here's what I question. He's got such a fast offense, right? And you're throwing in Bradford, who hasn't been on the field in years, who's injury prone, along with Mark Sanchez, who isn't exactly super quick on the uptake. I mean, you aren't putting the players in position for your hypothetical system here.
Well, and supposedly he wants a mobile quarterback, and Sam Bradford's the opposite of mobile.
You know what I hope he goes real crazy and doubles up on his pills and actually gets somebody from the veteran combine, maybe a little Tim Tebow action, maybe a little Vince Young, right? Why not?
I can't with you. We have to go into the Cowboys with that crazy. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's done.
It. Tebow's
Cowboys franchise to
Go
Des
crazy. Go
Bryant. They're crazy. Which I'm happy they finally got that done.
Mm-hmm.
They also secured their offensive line by re-signing T. Doug Free. They may have lost DeMarco Murray. We don't know yet. It's still possible. He did go to the basketball game with the head coach 2 days ago, so they might still re-sign him. But it doesn't matter. They have kept all of their key players in place on that offense to make anybody successful in that backfield. So I don't care if they don't get Murray back. I'd love Murray back, but if they don't, I see C.J. Spiller or Forsett going to the Cowboys and tearing it up. Regardless of who the running back is, their fantasy value is there because they have a great offensive line. They've got Des Bryant to pull it out. They got Tony Romo, if he can stay stable. It's great.
All as long as this wasn't like a one-year system, right, where they actually ran their back.
No, I think that they
stick
built
with
their
it.
offensive line, and they could have done. They did it last year. You know, they were able to give their running back a fighting chance, and I think it'll be the same. I think
I like it.
I tell you, yeah, if Spiller goes there, I'm on board. So yeah, I think they obviously need some help in the defense area, and if they can get that together, Cowboys too. I think they just kept it together nicely. They're not going to crazy town in Dallas, which is weird to say, but it's nice. It's nice to see them. Washington Redskins.
Well, they've picked up some defensive players in Ricky Jean-Francois, Stephen Pea, and Trenton Robinson, because clearly they don't need to address the offense at all.
No, they have RG3. They're fine.
They're good. They're good. All we need to do is just tweak the defense a bit, and we're back in business. No, Redskins. No.
I don't care.
Crazy.
Open flames.
And then pending is Brian Arakpo, who's like arguably like one of their best defensive players. Don't sign him. No. Crazy. In other big news, Kai Forbath, the kicker guy, is restricted free agent. That just make and break the team. Colt McCoy pending. But what's interesting, again, sad news. They lost Roy Halou. Again, huge impact. I'm so confused why they're not doing anything. But what is interesting here is that there is talk that they're going to go for Marcus Mariota. This is the talk. So then we're back in the quarterback drama, which is the Washington Redskins.
So good.
I kind of hope they do it. I hope they do it. Again, we haven't addressed any issues here in terms of what they're going to do with the receiving core. We haven't tied anything up with our offensive line. We haven't tied anything up in our quarterback position. We're addressing defense. First thing first. Sign your backup quarterback, Mark Sanchez. Address your defense with a fully offensive team.
First move.
It's crazy. They did also re-sign Niles Paul. So there's that. Again, zero fantasy impact for you. But I will be intrigued. I mean, do you guys think that Mariota is going to be an actual legit situation here? Do you think he could drop to 5? That is where the Redskins pick is 5.
It's love Mariota. I am a huge Oregon fan. We are an Oregon family in our house, and I love him. He's a good guy. He is a real athlete. He is amazing on the field. He's a great leader. I'm totally into him. I hope that he comes out and just blows people away in the NFL because I think, he's a good enough guy to do that. So I'm all about him.
I'm concerned he's never been behind center. That's my one concern.
Yeah, but he's a really good athlete. I don't know. I mean, look at RG3. I mean, it's not much competition going to the Redskins. I just feel like, it's a nice spot for him.
I'll be intrigued to see if he drops to 5. And if he does drop to 5, I think they should absolutely pick him up. And I feel like they're trying to bank on that, which would obviously be the only reason they haven't signed Colt McCoy yet.
I can't believe that wasn't their first move.
I know, it's crazy. But
they obviously don't have the genius Chip Kelly working for them.
Right.
What I do like about this is that I think it's an interesting move on Gruden's part because I think Gruden is a no BS kind of guy, right? That is Gruden. And I think the locker room drama, he's not on board. I think so. I could definitely see them not eliminating, because the problem is even if they do go Mariota, you still got RG3 in the locker room causing toxic drama. So I'm not entirely sure.
Press conferences
and
and
you'd
everything.
have to start him. Like, you can't draft Mariota and not start him right away when you've got RG3 in the mix, which again is just a nightmare.
Yeah.
So again, you should draft nobody from the Redskins on your fantasy team here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any fantasy implication, or do we ignore them?
We ignore
I'm
them.
ignoring, I think, the whole team.
Ignore the entire
Based
team.
on your analysis, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, you can't even pick up Kai
Aw.
Forbath anymore. I mean, it's crazy.
Sad.
Sad.
Yeah.
Giants. The Giants
Very
moved quickly to sign running back Shane Vereen from the Super Bowl champion Patriots. Vereen. I've always liked Vereen. I thought he
too.
was the man
Underutilized.
in the Patriot world. Yeah, I just couldn't believe that they didn't use him enough. That man can catch balls. He can run. He's all around great player. They still have Rashad Jennings, Andre Williams. It's good. It looks really good for them. Victor Cruz is still rehabbing, and he's going to come back and just be that 1-2 punch with Mr. Beckham. Odell Beckham. I'm excited for the Giants. I love Coughlin. It's awesome. They also signed former Cowboy receiver Dwayne Harris, which he's more of a special teams guy, which is wonderful as well. They need help on that, so I'm into it. They really don't. The Giants don't have much cap space left, so we're basically seeing everything we're gonna see from the Giants. But that's okay. I think it's good. I think they've got a great team. So
I think
I'm
getting
into it.
Shane Vereen was a big bang for their buck.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I like this pickup.
Me too. NFC North, Packers.
Speaking of bang for your buck, Randall Cobb re-signed to a 4-year, $40 million contract worth every penny put in the bank. 1,000+ yards a season for him and Jordy Nelson again.
It would have
Aaron
felt wrong
Rodgers.
if he wasn't a Packer, right?
It'd be wrong. And Aaron Rodgers is such a happy man. They got rid of Jarrett Boykins, so you can also put it in pen that Devontae Adams is the number 3 wide receiver. Yeah. And they re-signed right tackle Brian Bulaga. So at the end of the day, that's all the Green Bay wants to do because they're awesome and they just want to continue being so.
Love it. Lions.
Yeah, the Lions haven't done a whole lot either. I mean, obviously got rid of Dominican Sue, which is huge, but they got Nagata, so they're really happy with this pickup. And I think it's a fantastic pickup for them. They really haven't done much. They don't really need to tweak much. They're one of those teams that's just kind of like swap one player in, one player out, and it might be the difference maker, right? It might be what it needs to be. So I really like this move. I think maybe it's good to have a different kind of energy in the locker room or a different energy on the field. I think they were kind of sick and tired of not being able to count on him in a defensive manner, and Nagata's going to be a much better option here. So I really like it. You got Nick Fairley, like Courtney was saying, is pending, so he's going to be gone. That could affect the defense. Cassius Vaughn, Reggie Bush was cut, which is fantastic fantasy-wise in terms of we might finally not have a running back by committee situation in Detroit.
Right. Right.
So I'm really into this. I like that move a lot as well. So they've made just enough moves that they need to make those small little tweaks while keeping their team intact. So as always, Detroit Lions are a fantasy viable team for you.
Woohoo! Vikings. They've been pretty quiet during these free agency few days. They too, first move was to sign their backup quarterback Sean Hill, which is good. And this I do encourage because
I agree.
Sean Hill is very educated in football. He knows his business. He has been in several offenses and
perfect backup.
Nothing but awesome for Teddy Bridgewater, to listen to. I'm totally into this. This is good. Adrian Peterson's really the biggest talk. He hasn't publicly came out and said I want to be traded or released, but he does. So, Minnesota wants him back. They want him. They, have yet to give up on him, and they're still talking a lot. So it's, I think it's going to be another domino scene. I think once Murray gets signed, it's going to just go boom, 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 boom. The running backs are all going to be taken off the board real fast, and AP's probably going to be one of those. So we'll see. Chicago Bears.
The new GM, Ryan Pace, just announced today that the team will, quote, move forward with Jay Cutler. So hide your kids,
endorsement.
Hide your wife, and hide your husbands too. That's what I got to say about that. And with Brandon Marshall out of town, that means Alshon Jeffrey is obviously the number one, which means Marcus Wilson will probably be the number 2 / the most overrated fantasy football wide receiver of the 2015 season.
And Eddie Royal just signed as a Bear.
Eddie Royal, exactly. Now, normally I would say yawn Eddie Royal, but to be fair, his rookie season with Jay Cutler was his best by far. We had 91 catches for 980 yards and 5 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards with Jay Cutler. Now, and also that was also with offensive coordinator Adam Gase. So in Denver, 2009, 2010 seasons. So I mean,
I like this move. It's potential.
There's potential. I'm not jumping, but Eddie Royal is one of those guys you can get for borderline free at the end of your draft this year, and I would do that
for the value of where you can get him. I think it's fantastic.
I think especially because Marcus Wilson will be way overrated as a sleeper, and you'll have to get him in like the 4th round or something stupid. Don't do that. But I would get Eddie Royal in like the 12th or 14th round.
Yeah.
That's what I would rather do. They did snag outside linebacker Pernell McPhee, but it's hard to get excited about that because they need so much on defense. This isn't even a dent.
No, it's not. NFC South Carolina Panthers, they did not take much from other teams. They spent most of their time re-signing their guys, which I am totally into. Greg Olsen got a 3-year contract extension. Love him. Yep. To me, he is the number 3 tight end in the league. Mr. Consistent.
I put him number 2.
I think that's true. Jimmy Graham is to the Seattle Seahawks, so I mean they don't even throw the ball. So that's true. This is true.
It's debatable for sure.
Yeah, they still have to work on their offensive line and staying healthy. They don't have a running back. But
do you think Gronk and his kitten are number 1? Is that what you're saying?
For sure. He's now the most popular man in America. That was our tweet the other day.
The only tight end in the NFL at this point. So it's good. It's good. Greg Hardy is not on the Carolinas' radar, and I don't think he's going to anybody else right now either. So way to stay away from criminals, people. I'm into it.
Thank you.
They did.
I'm a little surprised by that one. Are you not? Like Rivera, like there seemed to be like boys. Like he liked him. I know you like Rivera.
Yeah, I do love Rivera. But, yeah, I think he likes his team and he stays with his team. He's a team guy, and he sticks up for everybody on his team regardless. But I think once it all started hitting the fan, I think he was just like, he's no longer part of the team. He's now made himself him, and it's not team. So D'Angelo Williams is out. That leaves Jonathan Stewart. Woo! It's awesome.
Pumped.
Pumped. He hasn't played a full season since 2011, FYI.
Pumped.
Yeah. Pumped. It's getting crazy. Saints, they have one good player.
Do they? No, no. I actually don't hate the Saints right now. I know. Okay, so here's the deal. Jimmy Graham is gone. Yeah. Okay. This hurts Drew Brees, obviously, no doubt, and Brees knows it. In fact, he tweeted out a picture of his son wearing a Jimmy Graham jersey.
Oh my God!
With no words. Just
awkward.
I was like, subtle, Drew Brees.
Subtle.
Also, the cutest, saddest video of the 7-year-old girl crying when Jimmy Graham left. She was like,
she couldn't keep her thoughts together. So good.
It's a bad idea. And I was like, I hear you, girl. I hear you.
But they made a very decisive choice. They're like, are we going Breeze or are we going Graham? They chose Breeze.
Listen. In good news, they traded Graham for a 4th-round draft pick and the 2-time Pro Bowl center Max Unger. They decided that they wanted to upgrade their offensive line. That's what they decided because they have a 36-year-old Drew Brees throwing the football. And Jimmy Graham does not block. He just doesn't do it.
How much does that guy feel like a bad mother effer that he basically is almost in a straight up trade as a center with Jimmy Graham?
Seriously, like I was
parts of offensive line.
I was watching the NFL Network, and one of the announcers, who also is an offensive lineman, was like, "Man, I would feel like the baddest mofo in the NFL if I got traded straight up for Jimmy Graham and the guy's like, well, and a blah, blah, blah draft pick, he's like, no, that's just whatever.
That's whatever.
I got
Exactly.
traded for Jimmy Graham.
Like
All
straight
right?
up as a center.
What?
Hall of Famer Jimmy Graham, straight up.
He
he's
won
Hall of
in
Famer
free
regardless.
agency.
Throw that guy
That
a party.
center won in free agency. He's
Max
the biggest winner.
Unger. Write down that name.
That's right.
Yeah, so very impressive, this center. But listen, they supposedly traded Jimmy Graham away to build up their defense too. And frankly, Jimmy Graham took some games off, and he wasn't all that great last year. He was very consistent. He had these big drops out of nowhere, and they just decided they were cleaning house. It's crazy, so no one is safe. But you know who is safe? Mark Ingram signed to a 4-year, $16 million deal with $7.6 million guaranteed. What does this mean? Perhaps the Saints will become a single running back team. We may tell you can draft a Saint. Maybe, unless they also get CJ Spiller, who's supposedly on a plane to go see them now.
That is my nightmare. That is my nightmare.
Total nightmare.
Oh.
So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what they're doing, and they're looking to build up their defense in the draft.
Reggie Bush is going home.
You think
What do
so?
you
You think
think?
Bush is going to go there too?
I don't know. Bush is flying to the
Saints.
49ers right now, but I heard that there's rumors about him going home to the Saints too.
Stay
So
away from my Mark Ingram. I wanted Mark Ingram.
I just say everybody go to the Eagles. You know, just all the running backs just go there together, you guys. You guys can create your own offensive line.
Baltimore doesn't have
Bye.
any running backs. Why doesn't someone go there? They have 0 running backs.
Yeah, no need. No.
No?
They're all going to buck up together.
Yeah.
It'd be roommates again in Philly.
It's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah, no, well. Falcons.
We'll keep this one short just to speed things up. They haven't really done much. They did sign Anton Smith again. So I'm super jazzed they signed him for the 5 times he'll touch the ball this season.
And for 100 yards each time.
Each time. I mean, hopefully this means they're actually just doing a little bit more with him. I don't know. And in the year of making sure we signed backup quarterbacks, T.J. Yates was re-signed by the Falcons. So keeping it consistent with our backups. Matt Bryant, he's pending. He is gone. And this is concerned because Matt Bryant was one of the more consistent players on the Falcons team last year as a kicker. So Jacquizz Rodgers, he is also pending. So again, this is an interesting situation in terms of what are they going to do running back wise. Maybe this is a good push to say that Anton Smith may get a few more touches. Don't reach for him. He's a low round pick. You could probably not even draft him and get him later, but it's going to be an interesting move as far as how they do that. So, to move on to the Bucks.
Bucks.
Again, they're a lot of defensive moves. They signed 2 defensive ends, 2 cornerbacks, a linebacker, a strong safety. None of which are really worth mentioning. The only really exciting news is that Josh McCown was cut and he went to the Browns, as we already talked about. And then Bobby Rainey is a restricted free agent with the running backs. So not that he was super fantasy relevant, but again, they had that weird kind of running back by committee situation there. So some of these teams may be kind of straying away from the committee situation, which I think is good for everybody fantasy-wise.
So who's the quarterback for Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
They got the first-round pick. It's going to be Jameis Winston.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Oh, that's right.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Which will make them one of the more entertaining teams to watch next year in terms of complete implosion.
Or hateful.
It's going to be awesome. Stay away from all of that fantasy-wise as well.
Yeah. All of them. They're bad.
All of them.
NFC West, Arizona Cardinals. Well, you know, they're a pretty good team. You know, they're a pretty darn good team. They did add lineman Mike Lupati, which is huge for the offensive line. They have a lot of cap space on their team, which makes me think AP is going to the Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah, I think he is.
Interesting.
I think they released Darnell Dockett to really free up more money to get AP. That's my opinion. But who knows? Spiller, Forsett, Murray, they're all still available at this moment. And it doesn't matter. Whoever's going to be playing that running back position, if it's still Ellington, it's a great offensive line now. Like, it's really good. So I think it's a really good pick for your running back situation, whoever it is. I I love me some Cardinals, so I'm all about them. But no huge moves yet. I think they're waiting for Minnesota to make a move on AP, so we'll see. Seattle Seahawks.
Well, the only big move is the biggest move, which was that they got Jimmy Graham. So this is a huge downgrade for Jimmy Graham because they don't throw the ball. It's a huge upgrade for Russell Wilson because he now has a red zone target and one that probably won't let a defensive guy get in front of him in a 1-yard slant like in the Super Bowl. But I digress.
They have
Too soon.
I feel like the Seahawks have completely given up and say, we don't care about the wide receiver position. We're just going to run 2 tight end sets all day long with Jimmy Graham and Luke Wilson and run Marshawn Lynch up and down the field.
Yeah, but they have a big problem because they lost their stellar Pro Bowl center in this trade, and they also lost their left guard, and Jimmy Graham doesn't block.
Which is incredibly important for the fact that Russell Wilson is a shorter in stature, play-action quarterback. So the fact that you don't have that is hugely impactful.
They're going to have to figure that out.
But you've got to assume that Luke Wilson can block enough that they thought that was willing to bring.
I think, is a good blocking tight end.
Yeah.
And we're talking Pete Carroll here, people. I think he's got it worked out.
Yeah.
I think that overall, in a football perspective, Seattle is more dangerous. I think that they will rebuild their offensive line, and I think they will be just fine. I think they are more dangerous, which is crazy since they've been in the Super Bowl back-to-back years. But I think,
they must feel that they have enough depth in their offensive line, and they must have people in the draft that they want to target for them to be confident enough to have a tight end who doesn't block based on the way that they run their offense. So I have to believe in that. I haven't looked, I don't really know who their backup center is, to be, like frank, and I don't know their play, but I will say that those are 2 big losses. So listen, it doesn't change anything. They're still going to run the heck out of the ball with Marshawn Lynch, and they're still going to have a running quarterback in Russell Wilson. That's who he is. So the only big downgrade is Jimmy Graham. He becomes like a Greg Olsen, Martellus Bennett level tight end.
Sad.
Interesting.
Sad.
I wouldn't draft him over those guys, and I certainly wouldn't take him early in the draft.
Yeah, he definitely should not go as early as he has been going. You guys definitely realize what team he's playing for now. St. Louis Rams.
Well, we kind of already touched on really the only big thing with the Rams, which was obviously the Nick Foles and Bradford trade.
Congratulations, Rams.
Yeah. Go Rams.
Go Rams. Go Rams. So it's Brand kind of already talked about the fact they got the 4th-round pick in 2015, a 2nd-round pick in 2016. And what's interesting, though, is that they kind of have kind of a conditional of additional picks based on number of snaps and whatnot. So that will also be interesting. But yeah, I just love that Kenny Britt, they're looking to possibly re-sign. Again, I have never been a huge proponent of any Rams wide receiver of any nature, but they do have some long ball threats, which actually works rather nicely into Nick Foles' game plan. So I like the strengths there. It's whether they can actually pull it together. Jake Long, who's one of their offensive tackles, he's gone. That's actually a really big loss for them. So that doesn't help their possible line issues, and they have line issues. If you watch any of their running games, they have serious offensive line issues. You're going to be targeting offensive linemen in the draft, certainly. And luckily, there's a good depth with offensive linemen, so that's good this year. And again, they lost Sean Hill, like Courtney said. So we won't beat down the Sam Bradford Foles trade, but go Foles, baby. They definitely won on that one. They won for sure.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
You know who's kind of losing is the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, in life.
A lot. So they lost Frank Gore, so now it's Carlos Hyde. I don't hate Carlos Hyde, actually. 83 carries, 33 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. Not exciting, but he was behind Frank Gore, so I think that's kind of awesome. Rumors that Colin Kaepernick was going to be traded didn't work out, but he did get Torrey Smith, who's a long ball guy, and now he can stop overthrowing Vernon Davis and can just throw to Torrey Smith. I still don't think this is good for anyone, though. And also, their 49ers have confirmed that Vernon Davis is staying. I don't know if that's good or bad. And sadly, linebacker Patrick Willis and probably defensive lineman Justin Smith are both retiring this year.
Yep.
Massive restructuring.
Bye-bye, Stevie Johnson.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, Stevie Johnson.
Sad.
Colin Kaepernick will have no
And
more
Michael
excuses
Crabtree.
with Torrey Smith on the team now.
And Michael Crabtree's gone.
Yeah.
So now his bromance with Crabtree, it's going to be back on with Davis, you guys. It's going to be back on with Davis this year. I like
Torrey
Vernon.
Smith.
And Torrey.
Yeah, I like Vernon a lot more this year. Well, it's crazy, and it's just begun. So everybody keep an eye on your computer because this free agency is not over yet. Make sure to hop over to Blog Talk Radio /Her Fantasy Football and sign up for our podcast and on iTunes. If you'd like to see what we're going on between those shows, subscribe to herfantasyfootball.com for our articles and fun stuff. And make sure to chat us up on Twitter. We like talking to you at Her Fantasy FB and on Facebook /Her Fantasy Football. Until next time, no more faking it.